Hey everyone, Ahsan Raza here from Century 21 Innovative Realty and Ahsan Raza Real Estate. As you guys know, I started my podcast 2.5 years ago and we are almost at 70 episodes now. If you get a chance and if you like this information and content, please subscribe to the channel. Please share and like all the videos you've seen so far. And if you are a home buyer and a home seller looking to get more information and you've liked what you've seen in these podcasts and you want to set up a meeting to discuss your future plans, give me a shout, reach out to me at 647-995-7292 or DM me on Instagram or Facebook and let's get your next move started. Thank you very much. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ahsan Raza podcast. I've got a returning guest and a close friend of mine from childhood, Nabeel Naqvi from Affinity Law, partner at the law firm. Thank you, Nabeel, for joining us again, man.
My pleasure. Always good to be on with my close childhood friend. So It never feels like work. Just feels like we're chatting, just like we would be on the ball court or at the mosque or in the boardroom.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we've been through a lot. We played hockey together, basketball. We were just playing last night, actually, talking about that. So, and obviously Jay's experience right now, which was...
Actually, that's a great point. Why don't we make that point before we go on? Because people probably don't see this side of you. I was thinking, does Ahsan ever get angry? Is he ever mad? I don't think I've ever seen him angry, ever once with a client. You're probably so patient. But then on the ball court, that's when you guys ever want to see Ahsan chew someone out for giving up on a play or not running hard enough. You want to see him on the basketball court.
Oh man, I was upset last night. Rightfully so, you know. So you gotta hustle at the end of the day, right? So hustle, you can't teach.
You can't let Kumail have all the W's.
Oh man, I can't wait till next week, man. But yeah, that's absolutely right, bro.
As long as I'm on that guy's team, I'm happy, bro.
Yeah, no, he's a great player as well. Shout out again to Kumail once more. But thank you, Nabeel, for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Today's topic, we're going to talk about something that I've always wanted to get into with Nabeel and just kind of shed some more knowledge to our audience, and that's wills and estates. So I know, Nabeel, you work a lot with clients when it comes to that, and it's got a big influence and relationship to real estate as well, because it's something I think that a lot of our community and all of our clients don't really have much information and knowledge on. So with a quick introduction, can you just tell us about why is having a will so important, and how does it impact homeowners here in the GTA or in Canada in general?
That's a great place to start, Ahsan. And thank you for bringing that up. That is a separate practice area that I'm now proud to be heading at Affinity Law. So cheap plug, Affinity Law, full service law firm, your place to be for everything you need from A to Z. So a lot of people think wills are only for the wealthy or the elderly, Ahsan, but that couldn't be further from the truth. A will is really your voice, okay, after you're gone. It's how you make sure your home, which is what you're interested in mostly as a realtor, your other assets, and your personal wishes are handled exactly the way you want. Here in the GTA, as you know, Ahsan, property values are high and family situations can be complicated. Blended families, common law partners, multiple properties. Without a will, things can get messy very quickly. And so having a will minimizes stress, prevents disputes, and gives your loved ones clarity when they need it the most. So think of it as leaving behind a roadmap when your loved ones are grieving. The last thing they should have to do is guess what you wanted or fight. I've seen so much fighting happen over decisions. A will kind of removes that uncertainty.
Gotcha. So what would you say is sort of the first steps in putting this together? I know obviously they have to come meet with you, but for someone who has no clue or no idea, what do they do? Like, what's the starting step? What's the stepping stone for this sort of action?
Yeah, so a great starting point is to watch a seminar like this, obviously, which is a plug for us. Watch something like this, because what it does, it plants that seed in your head, because you'll be surprised, many people don't even know that they need a will, right? So just knowing that you need one is the first step. And then when you start thinking about it that's when you're going to reach out to someone like myself. And the good thing with us is that we've partnered up with different firms and AI and automation teams that we can just email you an intake form. It's a link. that takes you to a secure, safe website where you can answer all the questions that we need the answers to create your will. So we offer that. Many other companies now offer that, other law firms, obviously. So the starting point, I think, once you found out that you need a will, is to contact one of these companies or a lawyer to get your will done.
Got it. So you mentioned like finding out that you need to get a will done. Does it mean that for some people they don't have to do it, and for others it's an option? How do you know if you need to get a will done or not?
Having a will is not mandatory. It's just highly recommended. What I'll explain to you what happens if you don't have a will, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not mandatory, but what happens? So, if someone dies without a will, they're said to have died intestate, which is a fancy way of saying that they didn't have the will. And so that means the Ontario government and the Succession Law Reform Act. So basically, the law dictates who gets what, and there's a formula in there. And that may or may not always reflect what you would have wanted. You understand? So, for example, common law partners or stepchildren often receive nothing when it comes to succession law. But the court also has to appoint someone to manage the estate, which can take months and cause a lot of tension within the family.
Yeah.
So instead of your loved ones kind of focusing on healing, they're often stuck dealing with these kind of legal processes, delays, and unexpected costs. And I always say dying without a will doesn't just leave your family grieving, it leaves them guessing. Like, what did this person actually want us to do?
Yeah, it's man, like you've seen it, I've seen it as well, man. It's tough to, watch families kind of get even torn apart because of this situation. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because it's something that could have been prevented, but because of maybe procrastination or not having enough knowledge, can lead to something like, some family matters, issues, whatnot. So you're absolutely right, man. To avoid all of that, it's just a simple, step of watching a seminar like this, talking to someone like you, getting yourself educated. That's why we do these podcasts, right? Even yourself, like with your podcast, it's just to get the education out, to get the knowledge out, so that people aren't misinformed and they have the right information and right knowledge to take steps. So I think what you're doing is fantastic, and really is going to save families, not just financial loss, but just mental, stability, right? When it's all said and done.
Absolutely. And now, like I said, it's like, obviously we would love people to come to us, it's great, but nowadays there's so many ways to get Islamic or non-Islamic wills done online.
Yeah.
And they're not the greatest, but it's better than nothing.
Right.
And they're totally valid, as long as they're witnessed and signed properly.
So when, let's say someone now is, preparing a will, what are some of the common mistakes you've seen when people are actually involved in the process or updating their wills?
It's always funny when people come to you with their wills. You see all types of stuff. You see handwritten stuff on a napkin.
Really?
Is this valid? Maybe. So yeah, there are quite a few kind of common mistakes you see when people are making wills, even with kind of maybe non-experienced lawyers.
Yeah.
The first is using do-it-yourself or online templates. So yeah, if you are going to do those, they're not always up to the right standards. So just maybe it's good to get a pair of eyes on the template. Another big one is not updating the will when life changes happen. So, getting married, having children, buying new properties. All of these are major life events that should trigger at least a review of your will. People also forget to name alternate executors or choose someone who isn't really prepared for the responsibility. And nowadays you have to kind of account for, digital assets, online accounts, cryptocurrency, things stored in the cloud. You got to kind of pay attention to those things and make sure you have a plan. And finally, parents sometimes forget to name guardians for their minor children.
Okay.
Because, you assume that, you or your partner will always be there, but most times you're traveling together. And so God forbid, you want to be set up for the worst case situation and setting up proper trusts for your children. And so I always remind clients that a will isn't something you set and forget. it should grow and change with your life.
Got it. Okay. So it's like an ever evolving process. Okay. As you set it up. Like, so how old, or is there like an age limit where you should start thinking about this will, or does it depend on what your assets and liabilities are? Like for example, I'm turning 40. I mean, I'd let that out. 39, not 40 yet.
You don't look a day over 39, brother. So.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you as well, bro. So someone like me, for example, or let's say, because I see a lot of my clients who, thankfully some of them are smart enough to get their wills, but I always see them coming in when they're like 60, 70 years old, 80 years old. Is that a mistake, or should we kind of pre-plan 30, 40 years before?
Yeah, great point. That's a great question, because usually these things, like you said, would come into play when you have significant assets.
Yeah.
That's when you kind of had more complex and more detailed estate planning.
Right.
And so a 20-year-old may or may not have anything that's even worth protecting or mentioning in a will.
Yeah.
Now, that 20-year-old or 22-year-old might have kids though. So I think in any event, it's good to have something basic, like I said, at any age. But someone like, for example, you are probably in the prime of someone who should now be looking to not only do your will, but also look at estate planning. So estate planning will now look at, okay, based on my situation and my corporate situation, how can I plan my estate and my assets to maximize my tax savings when it comes to probate tax and capital gains tax? Okay, and you can do that by setting up different types of trusts. For example, a joint partner trust with your wife. So the question is, it's never too early. It's obviously never too late. But someone in that 30 to 50-year-old range, that's when it's really important to get that done, because as you and I both know, like you mentioned, we never know when that time would come. And you can always update it as you.
No, absolutely, man. It's always, you're basically protecting your family, right, at the end of the day. So
yes.
I think just the procrastination, unfortunately, a lot of us, myself included, right, that's something that we have to kind of get our ducks in a row and just be prepared, right? God forbid, but it's something that we're going to be doing, helping ourselves and our family anyways. We talked a little bit about estate planning. So I'm assuming that's separate from the will or part and parcel. And what does that entail? If you just kind of give our audience a high level breakdown of what it means for estate planning.
Yeah, estate planning, it's basically a fancy way of saying kind of wealth management. So the implication is you have wealth, okay, which most people do. If you own a home in the GTA, you can say you're in that echelon of people. And what it does is, as I mentioned, it's more about tax savings and maximizing your wealth. So what estate planning will do is they'll say, okay, a certain percentage goes here, a certain percentage goes here, but also a certain percentage should also go into investments, right? So an estate planner will say, okay, after you pass away, this much money or this asset or this house will be sold and invested in this XYZ thing. And this house or this property in this part of the world should be put into this type of trust, so that after, for example, 21 years, it's rolled over or deferred into some other instrument, for example. So all fancy ways of saying basically maximizing and saving tax. So everyone wants to save tax, but estate planning is kind of only for, basically you have to have around $1 million to be interested in something like that, which, like I said, is most people who are owning a home.
Yeah, in the GTA, yeah.
The last thing, is I'll mention that your own banks will usually have a pretty good starting point for that.
Yeah.
So you'll be surprised, like a lot of people don't know that RBC, TD, they all have kind of wealth management teams that if you are in that echelon, then they'll be happy to help you maximize your estate for tax purposes. I think that, again, many people as in know about the wills, and it's just sometimes really hard to get started.
Yeah.
The first step is simply just deciding to do it, and that's the hardest part. From there, you start to just think about your assets. What do you own? Property, bank accounts, insurance, investments. Think about who do you want to take care of your stuff after you're gone, your bank accounts, your children. Once you have that framework, then, just meet with a lawyer, and then they can walk through everything. At the end of the day, the will isn't about how much you have. It's about making sure what you do have goes where you want it to go in the smoothest possible way.
Got it. That sums it up, man. That was great. Perfect. Thanks so much, Nabeel. And if we want anyone to reach out to you, where can they find you? On Instagram, or you're on Facebook. So what are your social handles? And we'll include those in our captions as well here.
Yeah, appreciate that. Instagram, affinitylaw_real estate. I'm on LinkedIn. We're doing a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. We just dropped our new podcast. It's available on YouTube and will be available on Spotify and Apple Music shortly. So really excited about that, and really excited about getting you on. But as you know, I'm a perfectionist, so I want to make sure that I have all the content ready for that before I get you on. But I can't wait to have you on. We're going to do a home and home. It's a home and home, right? So
yeah, let's do it, man. Looking forward to it. No, I'm glad you started, man. I've watched the first episode, and I think Ali Duji was on there, a fellow, a good friend, realtor. So
yeah,
job,
had to have a pretty face on the first one. You and I just kind of,
Yeah.
Ali Doji's.
Hey, that's the man. That's gonna get you views, man.
Yeah.
It is. Thanks so much, brother. Really appreciate it, bro. I'll see you on the ball court next week.
See you on the ball court. If you want to see Ahsan angry, come watch him play basketball.
Let's do it next Tuesday, 8:15.
All right. Here, boss.
So much, guys.